All right, the 9th of September 2022, wherever you are watching us from, good morning and welcome. This is Kirk in the morning. My name is Chris Sambo, and as we always do, we'll be talking matters to do with what happened yesterday at the National Assembly as well as the Senate. Kenya Kwanza sweeping clean both speakers of the bicameral parliaments and taking over even the deputy speaker position. What next for the formation of government? We'll be talking matters to do with that later on in the program, and we'll also be trying to look at what is happening on the roads and also taking a review of what the newspapers have written this morning, including the big story, the global big story on the demise of the Queen of England. The longest serving monarch is now dead, and we'll be trying to look what is happening at the United Kingdom, as well as trying to look at a history of a queen that has served longest in the United Kingdom monarch. Welcome aboard as we start this program right from this moment. As we continue, we'll be talking also matters to do with Entertainment Friday that is back after a very long break, a politicking season, but we back this Friday with our entertainment segment later on after our political discussion. But as we always do, let's get into the roads and try and see what is happening on the roads as we also help you to get where you're going right on time. Good morning. All right, so quickly as we take a look at what is happening on the roads, so much is happening in regards to the different roads, and I just want to begin with one of the major roads, that is Mombasa Road. Looks so much good right from Cabanas all the way, as you also use the expressway, which looks so clean this morning, and as you go all through, it doesn't look so much bad until you get past Nyayo Stadium, where somehow doesn't look so much good with the different snarl-ups at some point. And just another road, I just want to take a look at the Ngong Road, which looks so much good this morning, but different traffic snarl-ups at different points is what is causing and making the road look congested, but still moving as by my map in this particular place. And just taking a review of yet another road, let me take a look at Thika Road, the usual culprit of traffic, and starting from Allsops doesn't look so much good as you get past all the way Mathare area 4 all the way to Pangani, and even Muthaiga, the road linking Kiambu Road and Thika Superhighway doesn't look so much good. There is so much traffic as you head up to Pangani, which is one of the major roads in the capital city, linking to the central business district. And just looking at Parklands Road doesn't look so much good as you enter the central business district through Kipandu Road all the way to the CBD. The CBD itself, just taking a look at the central business district, it doesn't look so much good because there is so much movement this morning. As a matter of fact, because this is a good Friday, so people perhaps maybe making their moves at different points, and that is what is happening on the major roads. At all you want to get where you are going right on time, then you know which route to use, because Thika Superhighway doesn't look so much good starting from Allsops all the way to Pangani, connecting with Kiambu Road. Mombasa Expressway looks so much good, as well as Mombasa Road doesn't look so much bad until you get at Nyayo Stadium, but still moving. Ngong Road, different traffic snarl-ups at different points, but all is well. I wish you get where you're going safe and sound and right on time, and that is what is happening on our roads. Up next is a review of what is in the newspapers. Right, and just taking a quick glimpse of what is the newspapers this morning. Just want to begin with the Standard newspaper, and as well as the Daily Nation and the People Daily, because this is a newspaper review. All right, and I just want to begin with the Daily Nation. Just looking at the Daily Nation, on top story there, it's Queen Elizabeth II, 1926 to 2022. That is matters to do with the demise of the longest-serving monarch in the United Kingdom. That is Britain's Queen Elizabeth II, who rose to the throne while on tour in Kenya after the death of her father, King George VI, on February 6, 1952. Now died at the Balmoral Castle in Aberdeenshire, Scotland yesterday. She was 96. That is a story that has gotten the world by storm in regards to the demise of the longest-serving United Kingdom monarch, that is Queen Elizabeth II. And that is the story written by the Daily Nation there on pages 2 and 3. Of course, it's a global story there talking about Queen Elizabeth II, a life marked by a keen sense of duty. She being remembered as a queen that has seen it all for the United Kingdom, been there in every aspect of the Britain, and she's led the country, the United Kingdom, into different aspects of growth in terms of overseeing the transition of power, different prime ministers as well, and different princes being crowned. That is what Queen Elizabeth II has been able to navigate through times when many, both at home and abroad, felt that the monarchy had lost relevance. She stepped up and brought relevance into the monarchy. And on page 4 of the Daily Nation and page 5 talks about what we'll be discussing right in a few moments, the Kenya Kwanza clean sweep in both parliaments. Moses Masika Wetangula, they call him Papa wa Roma, taking over the Speaker of the National Assembly in a clean sweep of the first round after Azimio la Umoja's Kenneth Marende failed to take on the second round. That is what is written by the Daily Nation on page 4, talking about how Kenya Kwanza planned and executed their plan to be able to get the Speaker of the National Assembly. Jeffer Amason Kingi, the immediate former Kilifi governor, now is the new Speaker of the Senate, getting 46 votes out of the possible 66. That means he garnered the majority, 2/3 of the votes. That is 45 plus 1 vote, and that is what made him now the Speaker of the National Assembly. Meru Senator Kadhuri Murungi, without any opposition, announced as the Deputy Speaker of the Senate, and as well as Gladys Boss-Sholei of Kenya Kwanza declared Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly. That is the story by the Daily Nation. Page 6 talks about the military set for Uhuru farewell today. That is bidding farewell to the outgoing president. The military today at the Ulinzi Sports Complex will be bidding farewell to the Commander-in-Chief, now getting on to the swearing in of President-elect William Ruto. We'll be talking about that in a few moments as well. The Standard newspaper doesn't have something different so much. Talks about the life of Queen Elizabeth, Britain's longest-serving monarch, was died aged 96 after reigning for 70 years. After reigning for 70 years yesterday, her family had gathered at her estate in Balmoral after concerns grew about her health, talking about the build-up to the announcement of the death of Queen Elizabeth II. And the Standard, they are talking about the different scenarios of the National Assembly as well as the Senate in regards to the election of speakers. Why Kalonzo Musyoka of the Azimio la Umoja quit the Senate race Speaker at the last minute, there being quoted saying that I was well guided by my party and Azimio top leadership. After we realized the process was marred by corruption, we decided that we needed to keep it clean and in that case step out of the race. Was that the right move? Well, Kenya Kwanza now having both speakers of the houses is a question that we'll be answering as we get on with the program. And page 2 of the Standard newspaper talks about everything you need to know about Queen Elizabeth, who pledged her life to serving the people. Just there talking about right from when she took over the throne in 1952 all the way to 2022. She's seen it all, and there is a story to learn about the Queen Elizabeth II. And that is what the Standard newspaper is reporting this morning. Just want to take a quick look at the People Daily, which talks about on the top page the big win for Ruto allies. That is where now the big deal is. The Speaker of the National Assembly, that is Moses Masika Wetangula, and also Jefferson Kingi, their analyzation of what made them get into those positions. Of course, that is what is the newspaper, The People Daily, is talking about, and also an in-depth of Queen Elizabeth, England's longest-serving monarch, dies at 96, and walkover for Kingi as Kalonzo quits. That is deep in-depth stories about the leadership of both houses, and it's a story that is unraveling, of course, the election of speakers, signifying that already the government is in formation as we await the swearing in of or rather President-elect William Ruto, who is now getting on to be the next President of the Republic of Kenya. We are taking a very short break after this newspaper review, as we come back and give you news update at this hour, even as we get into a discussion of what transpired next. Both our speakers coming from Kenya Kwanza, majority members being of the Kenya Kwanza coalition. What is next? Is it a strong government or a weak opposition? We'll be answering that question shortly. Don't go far away. Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, and you can also send in your feedback as we get into this discussion. A very short break. I'll be right back with the news at this hour.
Anamwambia Ibrahimu, ondoka ukaache nyumba ya baba yako. Kuna mambo mtazamaji wangu umekuwa familia kwayo, mambo ambayo umeyazoea kwa muda. Watu ambaye mumezoeana wanajua ukilia, wanajua ukifurahi, wanajua wakati kwako sio kuzuri, wanajua wakati ndoa yako sio salama, wanakuelewa juu na nje, na wanakujua hata zaidi ya vile wanavyojijua. Sasa Mungu anakuambia ya kwamba wachana na wao na uwasahau.
All right, and welcome back again as we continue with this Kirk in the morning. And remember, we are streaming live on Facebook and at Kirk TV Kenya, and YouTube at Kirk TV Kenya, and also you can leave your feedback there. Then we get in touch as we continue with this program, even as we get on to our discussion this morning on matters to do with the happenings yesterday of the National Assembly Speaker-elect with Moses Masika Wetangula, and also the Senate Speaker Jefferson Kingi, both of them coming from the Kenya Kwanza, as well as the deputy speakers. But right about now, these are the news making headlines at this hour. We talk about the demise and the death of Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's Queen Elizabeth II, who rose to the throne while on tour in Kenya in 1952, was yesterday announced dead in what called the world in a shock, as she died at the Balmoral Castle in Aberdeenshire in Scotland yesterday. She was 96 years old, leading the monarchy for 70 years and 214 days from the final years of the British Empire into the age of social media. She became one of the world's most recognized and respected figures, and her death not only brings to an end the longest reign in the history of the United Kingdom, but also pulls down the curtains on one of the longest reigns by any head of the state in the world. And now King Charles III will substantively take over the monarch, even as the United Kingdom and the globe gets into the mourning mood. For 12 days, the United Kingdom will be remembering the longest-serving monarch in the history of that country, from 1926, when she was born, to 2022, taking over the throne in 1952. And as far as the United Kingdom is concerned, this is what the Prime Minister, the immediate Prime Minister, Liz Truss, had to say after the death of Queen Elizabeth II.
We are all devastated by the news that we have just heard from Balmoral. The death of Her Majesty the Queen is a huge shock to the nation and to the world. Queen Elizabeth II was the rock on which modern Britain was built. Our country has grown and flourished under her reign. Britain is the great country it is today because of her. She ascended the throne just after the Second World War. She championed the development of the Commonwealth from a small group of 7 countries to a family of 56 nations, spanning every continent of the world. We are now a modern, thriving, dynamic nation. Through thick and thin, Queen Elizabeth II provided us with the stability and the strength that we needed. She was the very spirit of Great Britain, and that spirit will endure. She has been our longest ever reigning monarch. It's an extraordinary achievement to have presided with such dignity and grace for 70 years. Her life of service stretched beyond most of our living memories. In return, she was loved and admired by the people in the United Kingdom and all around the world. She has been a personal inspiration to me and to many Britons. Her devotion to duty is an example to us all. Earlier this week, at 96, she remained determined to carry out her duties as she appointed me as her 15th Prime Minister. Throughout her life, she's visited more than 100 countries, and she has touched the lives of millions around the world. In the difficult days ahead, we will come together with our friends across the United Kingdom, the Commonwealth and the world to celebrate her extraordinary lifetime of service. It is a day of great loss, but Queen Elizabeth II leaves a great legacy. Today the crown passes, as it has done for more than 1,000 years, to our new monarch, our new head of state, His Majesty King Charles III. With the King's family, we mourn the loss of his mother, and as we mourn, we must come together as a people to support him, to help him bear the awesome responsibility that he now carries for us all. We offer him our loyalty and devotion, just as his mother devoted so much to so many for so long. And with the passing of the Second Elizabethan age, we usher in a new era in the magnificent history of our great country, exactly as Her Majesty would have wished, by saying the words, "God save the King."
And that is the now Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Liz Truss, talking about and also giving a statement in regards to the death of Queen Elizabeth II. That's a developing story. We continue to monitor what is happening in the United Kingdom and the statements coming out in remembrance of the Queen Elizabeth II, and we'll also be trying to get you live pictures from the United Kingdom as well to also give you a glimpse of what exactly is happening over there. But coming back into our country now, in case you missed what happened at the Parliament, the National Parliament, Moses Masika Wetangula was yesterday night elected as the new Speaker of the 13th Parliament. And in case you missed the moments, this was the moment when Moses Masika Wetangula was announced the winner of that particular seat.
However, I have received a written communication from one of the candidates, namely the Honorable Kenneth Otiato Marende, indicating that he does not wish to proceed to the next round of ballot. Honorable members, this communication is witnessed by the member for Suna East, the Honorable Junet Mohammed. In the circumstances, honorable members, noting that there is no other candidates to compete with the Honorable Moses Masika Wetangula, I now take this opportunity to declare that the Honorable Moses Masika Wetangula stands elected as the Speaker of the National Assembly.
Right, and you can see those live pictures there of Moses Masika Wetangula, the excitement in Parliament, and even for him, such an exciting moment to be elected as the new Speaker as well. After that announcement, Moses Wetangula also had something to say, and this is perhaps what he had to say in the long speech that he made in the Parliament.
And a beacon of inclusive leadership in our great country despite the odds. Honourable members, I also do recognize and acknowledge the Honourable Samuel Moroto, the Honourable Adan Kainan, the Honourable Gonsirai, who are currently embarking on their 5th terms, thus becoming what we refer to in the parliamentary parlance as the fathers of the House. Their parliamentary experience shall enrich the deliberations and output of this House. Honourable members, for those who served in the 12th Parliament, you will recall that the standing orders were reviewed before the final adjournment of the House. Notably, the standing orders now allow for co-sponsorship of legislative proposals and bills by members. Members of this House shall also be able to co-sponsor bills with senators and vice versa, where an unidentified member shall be in charge of steering debate on a Senate bill in this House. This, in my view, is a progressive addition to the procedures of the House. Honourable members, the revision of the standing orders in the 12th Parliament also increased the number of the committees of the House. New committees include the Diaspora Affairs and Migrant Workers Committee, the Public Petitions Committee, the Public Debt and Privatization Committee, and the Decentralized Funds Accounts Committee.
And is what Moses Wetangula talked about after being elected as the Speaker of the National Assembly, and now in the Senate, Assembly, that is Jefferson Amason Kingi, the former Kilifi governor, was elected as the new Speaker of the 4th Senate and also in the 13th Parliament, and this was the moment when he was announced winner after Kalonzo Musyoka of the Azimio la Umoja announced quitting the race.
If no candidate is supported by the vote of 2/3 of all the senators, a fresh election shall be held. That is not the case. So, Amason Jeffa Kingi, having received 46 votes, which is the highest number of votes, and having met the threshold of 2/3, is duly declared, and I so declare, to be elected as Speaker of the Senate.
Nitaheshimu, nitahifadhi, nitalinda na nitaitetea hii katiba ya Jamhuri ya Kenya, na kwamba nitatenda haki kwa watu wote kulingana na hii katiba ya Kenya na sheria na desturi za bunge.
The critical question is, what next? What is next for the 4th Senate? How do we build on the achievements of the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Senates? Fundamentally, the Senate must continue to play its constitutional mandate and role more vigorously. Just to reiterate and remind ourselves, on senators, the primary mandate of the Senate is to represent the counties and their governments. My predecessors and the leadership teams, guided by unit of purpose and the will to actualize devolution, initiated work systems, spearheaded a series of retreats, workshops, and seminars that rapidly crafted the framework of transiting and administering Senate in the 11th and the 12th Parliaments. As the renowned American writer and political commentator Walter Lippmann wrote, and I quote, The final test of a leader is that he leaves behind in other men, and women for that matter, the conviction that the will to carry on. We salute both the Right Honorable Ekwe Ethuro.
All right, and that is Jefferson Amason Kinge, who is now the new Speaker of the Senate. And on that note is where we'll be taking a very short break. But remember, we're getting into our discussion, and in studio is Kipro Teaching Etich, who is a policy analyst also, and a youth advocate who is here in studio this morning. We'll also be talking matters to do. What happened yesterday? Douglas Oleso Odhiambo is a political analyst, has not made it this morning due to unavoidable circumstances. But all the same, we'll be getting into a discussion in a short while. So don't go far away. We take a very short commercial break, and then we get back into a discussion. What next for the formation of government?
Families should be the epitome of love. But in recent times, this seems like a dream, because all we're witnessing is rape cases, high divorce rates, betrayal, and even murder.
So you have to protect her.
Maintaining marriages because
there are also many who are going through issues in their marriages and they can't run to anybody.
The issue of killing, the issue of murder seem to be on the rise.
And that is why we bring you Transforming Families, where we are all about just that, transforming families.
Good journalism is bold, in-depth, unique, captivates, reflects, and impacts. To quench your thirst for exceptional stories that are about you, from you, and for you, Kirk TV presents itself as the hub of feature stories. Ranging from health and environment,
either there is extreme drought or extreme floods, and these will affect people.
Religion and politics.
And the man looked at the boy, looked at the mother, and told the boy, going forward, don't wet the bed again.
There come a time when the nation is more important than an individual.
Education and socio-economic issues.
Nasaidika kwa sababu nikishona moja mbili nauza, napata kitu ya kulisha watoto.
I have met with other tribes which I have never met before.
To other stories that touch on your day-to-day life.
Ndio iko mingi zaidi. Tafadhali mnisaidia maji ya nyazi.
Tingatinga amekanyanga kila kitu.
Hatujawahi kuona mabadiliko yote kuhusiana na serikali ya kujengea sisi.
Kwanza kitu naweza omba tu nishikiliwe tu pande ya masomo tu ya watoto.
Kirk TV, the hub of feature stories.
Are you looking to grow your business? Kirk TV offers you a variety of advertising opportunities to suit your budget. Advertise with us today and reach your potential customers countrywide. For more information, email us on sales@kirktv.org or call 011 00 90647. Losing a beloved one can be one of the hardest life experiences. Death brings a total change in many setups, the family taking a huge position. Death also provides an opportunity to celebrate the departed and their achievements on earth. Kirk TV provides for you an opportunity to announce death and funeral at affordable fee. For more information, write to us via announcements at kirktv.org or call 011 00 90 647.
Families should be the epitome of love. But in recent times, this seems like a dream because all we're witnessing is rape cases, high divorce rates, betrayal, and even murder.
So you have to protect her.
Maintaining marriages because
there are also many who are going through issues in their marriages and they can't run to anybody.
The issue of killing, the issue of murder seem to be on the rise.
And that is why we bring you Transforming Families, where we are all about just that, transforming families.
All right, and welcome back again to Kirk in the Morning this Friday as we now get into our discussion and talk about matters that happened yesterday at the National Assembly and also at the Senate. Both speakers coming from the Kenya Kwanza coalition as well as the deputy speakers. What does this mean? Is it a strong government or a weakening of the opposition? That is the discussion that we're going to have at this hour, even as we try to deliberate on what we expect in the formation of government, as Tuesday next week, President-elect William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua will be sworn in, and joining in for that discussion is my guest who is here, Kirk, is a policy analyst as well, a political commentator and a youth advocate, and also, just to make it clear, also a member of the Kenya Kwanza coalition. We had to also have Douglas Oleso Thiambo, who hasn't been able to get here this morning due to unavoidable circumstances, but we're going to have this discussion. And just to begin from this point, welcome Kirk, and good to see you again. I think the last time we were here, we were going to the election, and you said you'll come back here as a victor, which should say congratulations.
Asante sana, Chris. Asante sana.
So many things happened after the election, but just so quickly, yesterday Kenya Kwanza sweeping both houses, Speaker of the National Assembly, Speaker of the Senate, Deputy Speaker of the Senate, and also the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly. What do you make of such? Do you see that as a composition of a strong Kenya Kwanza government, or rather a weak opposition?
Okay, Chris, thank you very much for having me once again, and thank you for your congratulatory message.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, Chris, before I answer your question, permit me first to use this platform, because the last time we were here is just a Friday before election, Tuesday election. Now we are here Friday before Tuesday inoculation. So it's quite a very good coincidence. So permit me to congratulate His Excellency, the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya, the President-elect William Samoei Ruto, for his victory in August 9 election. Permit me also in the same vein to congratulate Speakers of National Assembly and the Senate who were elected yesterday, Moses Masika Wetangula and immediate Kilifi Governor Amason Jeva Kingi, for a victory, a huge victory. In fact, Kingi was confirmed from first round. That shows the confidence the senators had in him. So having said that, Chris, before I come to your question about the election of speakers yesterday, about the impact of role of parliament, I'd like also to use this opportunity to pass my own condolences to the great people of Britain for the passing of their monarch, the Queen Elizabeth II, and the whole world is praying and is with them. So I also join other people around the world, across the world, to pass my message of condolences and to wish the people of Britain well as they mourn their Queen. Chris, let me tell you, let me first comment, first of all, on the overall victory of Kenya Kwanza coalition, especially the declaration of William Ruto as president-elect. What impact does it have on the politics of this country before we come to now parliament, because that is how where it begins. William Ruto's victory in August 9 election is very significant in 4 ways. One, it solidifies our place as a country in terms of development of our democracy, that a son of a nobody can become somebody because the country, it now means Kenya as a country is a place that offers opportunity to everyone. And that defines where someone defined democracy as a place where a son of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. So the win of William Ruto on August 9 election is an inspiration that a young man in Mandera whose father is not known can dream one day to be somebody in this country. A young woman in Busia, in each and every part of the Republic of Kenya, can dream to be something in this country. And that was a very huge mark, a very huge inspiration to our young generation, and the future of this country definitely is gonna be bright. Two, it is very significant in the sense that it demystifies the belief that we as voters just go for election and then there are people somewhere who decide who the next president is. So it demystifies the belief that there is something called the deep state or the system. So the win by William Ruto shows that the people of this country are very supreme, and they are the one who are sovereign as per the Article 1 of the Constitution. Three, and which is very important, it marks the end of politics of deceit in this country. You remember the current president, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, had made a promise that he will do his term, and he had promised that to support his deputy for the next 10 years. But you saw what happened. At the end of the day, those 10 years, he decided to support an opposition, whose leader who was his opposition then. So the win by William Ruto marks the end of political deceit, and it brings in now a cleaner gene in our politics where there is honesty in agreement we make both publicly and in private in terms of leadership and politics of this country. You see now William Ruto is already honoring the promise he made to Ford Kenya party leader. He is now the Speaker of National Assembly, courtesy of the agreement he made with William Ruto before election. Musalia Mudavadi, the leader of ANC, is set to become Prime Cabinet Secretary. So it brings in politics of honesty at the nation. And now, and Chris, now the William Ruto victory, we will no longer have to do a lot of agreements. We will now be having now a good agenda in terms of the politics of this nation, and people can also do an alliance to whoever they want, not be coerced to something else. So the politics of deceit is ending. Fourthly, which we credit as Kenya Kwanza for victory of the nation, it means we know the win for William to show that there is a God in heaven, because that is actually what we attribute our victory. Prayer, there is a power in prayer. So, Chris, we are as Kenya Kwanza, I think our victory is significant in many ways I've explained, and many people in this country are proudly associated with that victory. Coming to your question on the election of speakers yesterday.
Definitely. It is not a big focus.
Yeah, it is a big focus. And you see, as we said, election is about numbers. When you look at the Senate, Kenya Kwanza had in its coalition 36 senators, including those nominated. So the opposition now, the current opposition, that is Azimio, their numbers were 30. Because the Senate is composed of 67 members. Their numbers were 30 in the sense that there is one nominated senator of Wiper who is yet to come because of there is a court case. So 30 and us 36. So even though the threshold of becoming a speaker is at 2/3 on a first round, the standing orders provide for a second round of vote whereby the winner will win by just a simple majority. So it was bound to happen. Kenya Kwanza was expected to win. It is not a surprise. In the National Assembly, the same case, there was a bit of who was more numbers. When you look at critically, in terms of parties, somehow it seems like Azimio had a slight advantage of numbers, I think, for 2 members of parliament. But you see, after the election, the president-elect embarked on a very serious agenda, because you see, under our current constitution, and place of, in terms of budget making process, where policy decisions are made, all those decisions must come from parliament. So any president must make sure that he has the right support from government, from parliament. So that's why immediately after his declaration as president-elect, he reached out to independent members of parliament. And this intergovernmental parliament, we have 12 independent members. He wants the support of 10. That definitely tilted the numbers in National Assembly in favor of Kenya Kwanza, that is led by the president-elect. So we didn't expect much in terms of to say that Azimio can pull a surprise, no. And you look at the voting pattern in Senate, Governor Amason Jeva Kingi got 46, elected by 46 senators. That includes 10 from Azimio. It means the senators voted beyond party interest and look at the person they are looking on. Also, regional interest was a factor, because when you look at most of the senators from the coast region, from Kwale, who is an ODM senator, Taita Taveta, an ODM senator, Lamu, a Jubilee senator, Mombasa, an ODM senator, voted for Amason Kingi, most probably because they saw now as a region, they have a say in their government. So there was also a regional factor which was part of the voting in the Senate. For National Assembly, Moses Masiya Wetangula is a very experienced legislator, over 30 years experience as a legislator. And you see, when you look at the election of Moses Masika, got 215 as compared to Shole, who got 198. It means for Moses Wetangula, his experience as a legislator, he had more trust. You look at even the way when he came in, you look at the excitement of both aisle of the house, both in Azimio, because there's so much respect the members of National Assembly accord Moses Wetangula. So by and large, overall, I'm saying this, we expected Kenya Kwanza to win the leadership of both houses because they are the government and they want to implement the agenda, which is now what we call the plan, which is set out to roll in National Assembly. So for the deputy speakership election, Kadhuri Murungi was elected unopposed because Stewart Mazayo announced quitting his candidature, most probably because he comes from the same county with the elected speaker, Amason Jeva Kingi. So for regional issues, for regional balance and what have you, Stewart, Senator Kilifi, Senator, decided to give up his candidature for deputy speaker. For National Assembly, Farah Maalim brought a good fight and managed a sizable number of members of parliament. But you see also, he looked at when members of parliament was about to go for the second round of voting, he decided to quit because given citing what happened 15 years ago when he was a deputy speaker in National Assembly in the coalition government. So because the same results were supposed to, and there will have been no change in the second round, Shole will have won. So we are now set and parliamentary leadership is set. We are now set on Tuesday to inaugurate the leadership executive, and then the government and plan begins to roll.
You've talked about having the numbers, and also now the president-elect set to be sworn in on Tuesday, having now the full control of both houses.
Yes.
Let's look at it at this point. The control of both houses, how significant is for the incoming government?
Very significant, very significant. I told you, Chris, in my earlier remarks, that the place of parliament in this constitution is sacred. That explain, if you look at Article 1 of the Constitution, talks about sovereignty of the people. And Article 2, I think Article 2 talks about it can be the sovereign will, the sovereign power of the people can be exercised directly by themselves or indirectly through representatives. So the first people Kenyans donated power to is the parliament, Article 2, that is parliament, and then executive and then judiciary. So it was not by mistake that the people of Kenya donated first their power to be exercised indirectly to parliament. Yeah. And then they gave now parliament the power to make a lot of decisions on their behalf. Like now, the budget making process. And then in terms of appropriation of funds, it must happen in parliament. Making of budget, it happens in National Assembly. Appropriating funds, a division of revenue between national and county government, that is a role of parliament. So it is very significant, and it is in the interest of any president to have a significant support in both houses of parliament to be able to execute his agenda and manifesto for the people. So you see, for now, Kenya Kwanza government that is led by the president-elect will enjoy, can we say, almost a majority, not absolute majority of 2/3, but a majority members in the National Assembly to be able to pass bills that can enable the execution or execution of the promises they made to people. In the Senate, the same. So definitely they will have to have a leader of majority in the National Assembly, leader of majority in the Senate, because it is the leaders of majority in both houses of parliament that represent the interests of the executive at the House. It is also in the plan of His Excellency the President-elect, the 5th, to have his government involved in terms of being accountable to the people. You had him sometimes, I think about 3 weeks ago, when he met leaders, that is a plan, they're planning to amend the standing orders of both houses of parliament to enable his ministers to answer questions directly to MPs, as opposed to current setup whereby questions from members of parliament are referred to committees, and then cabinet secretaries come and give the answers to committees, whereby now the chairman of that particular committee will come to the floor of the House to answer on behalf of the minister. So there is a good sense, a good sense when the minister or a cabinet secretary in this matter can answer the questions directly to the members of parliament. That will make the people even see, the Kenyan people see that now the government is accountable and they'll be satisfied with that answer. So like now the way we are operating, it's somewhat opaque, but it's in our constitution, but we'll be able to review as we move forward. If it succeeds, even though there could be a difficulty in the sense that there is a standing orders in parliament says any changes in the standing orders will have to take place in the next parliament, not the current parliament. So we will wait and see if the government of William Ruto will succeed in having its ministers answer directly
to Parliament. And just before we take a very short commercial break, and on that particular note, someone would argue that the strengthening and full control of the Parliament by the government would also pose a weaker opposition, which is very critical, into putting into task the government. Just quickly, as we take that short break, what do you make of that?
I do not believe that in having a majority in parliament is emasculating the opposition members of parliament. Look at an example of South Africa, for example. Particularly a party called Economic Freedom Fighters, led by Julius Malema. There are barely 20 members of parliament in a parliament of more than, I think, 300 members. And look at what they are doing in terms of holding ANC government accountable. In fact, it is under the leadership of Julius Malema, with only, I think, they were not even 20 members of parliament, that they managed to remove Zuma from power because of corruption cases and what have you, because of that. So it does not mean if you are few and members of parliament supporting government are many, it does not kill or does not mean that you will not be able to exercise your oversight role. In fact, earlier as we were discussing, I told you ODM as a party because they have majority as a party, they have also a majority members of parliament and the senators. They can be able to play that role very well. But if the behavior we saw yesterday, walkout in the Senate is anything to go by, that means they are not ready to hold this government accountable. You even had this SG of ODM, Edwin Sifuna, the current senator for Nairobi, saying that Governor Kingi will not have legitimacy because he will not get elected by the majority of senators. But we saw how many senators elected Kingi to be their speaker, 46, absolute majority. So those people are not ready to work. The complaints that the incoming administration is emasculating opposition is a fat lie and has no place. Those people need to arrange themselves. Like I told you, the president normal say kitu ni kujipanga. If you don't plan yourself how you can execute your mandate as an opposition, then who do you blame? You see, for the president and the incoming administration, they are planning themselves to roll out the plan they have for the people. So that's why they need to have a majority in the National Assembly. They need to have majority in the Senate, because it is very serious and critical, their plan. So for the opposition, if you have to play your role to oversight a government, plan yourself. Stop staging walkout, filibustering the process. This country need to move on. If you look at after the election, Kenyans won. If you look at comments, as a journalist, I know you did interview to Kenyans, reactions to the elections. The Kenyans were telling us, no, we need to move on. Let the president who has been elected to be sworn in, because Kenyans are tired. They need to see change of administration, at least to see if their lives can change, given the current hard economic times we are facing. So it is up to the opposition to put their tact in order. So for us in government, we are ready to work for the people.
Right, and,
yes.
And that note is where we are going to take a very short commercial break, and then we return back with this particular discussion, even as we continue to interrogate what we expect in the formation of government after Kenya Kwanza swept clean both parliaments, Speaker and Deputy Speaker. We take a very short commercial break. Remember, you can send in your feedback so that we get in touch in this discussion, as we also seek to answer your question and concerns in regards to this discussion. A very short commercial break. Stay where you are. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for a university that matches your drive and ambition? Choose ZTech University. We offer market-driven programs ranging from master's, bachelor's, diploma and certificate levels in the schools of ICT, Media and Engineering, Education, Arts and Social Sciences, and the School of Business and Economics. Enroll today for September 2022 intake and enjoy a vibrant student experience, ultra-modern and well-equipped facilities, experienced faculty, and a place to pursue your dreams and ultimately change the world. ZTech University. Invent your future.
Are you looking to grow your business? Kirk TV offers you a variety of advertising opportunities to suit your budget. Advertise with us today and reach your potential customers countrywide. For more information, email us on sales@kirktv.org or call 011 00 90647.
The Presbyterian Teachers College Rubate is now offering training and upgrading of P1 and ECDE certificates to diploma, and hereby invites all applicants for the September 2022 intake in the following teacher education programs: Diploma in Early Childhood Teacher Education, DECTE, required grade is C plain in KCSE. Upgrade of P1 certificate to diploma, upgrade of early childhood teacher education ECDE to diploma. The reporting dates are as from 12th September to 12th October 2022 with the option of part-time classes available. For more information, please contact the principal through 0701 508 503 or their office line on 0720 312 021 and 0711 185 283.
Losing a beloved one can be one of the hardest life experiences. Death brings a total change in many setups, the family taking a huge position. Death also provides an opportunity to celebrate the departed and their achievements on earth. Kirk TV provides for you an opportunity to announce death and funeral at affordable fee. For more information, write to us via announcements@kirktv.org or call 011 00 90 647.
All right, and welcome back again. This is Kirk in the morning, even as we continue with our discussion deliberating on what transpired yesterday at both the houses of the Parliament, the Senate and the National Assembly. Both speakers coming from the Kenya Kwanza coalition. That is our discussion. Remember, for the Senate, Jeffer Amason Kingi, the immediate former Kilifi governor, was elected by majority as the Speaker of the National Assembly, and most of the senators voted in favor of him, despite some of the Azimio la Umoja senators walking out. And this is what the senators said, or rather made their statements after the election of Jeffer Amason Kingi.
We were always reminded that, where are your numbers? I am so happy, Mr. Speaker, that our numbers have counted today.
Ushindi huu si wako. Ushindi huu ni wa Kenya wote. Kiti unachokitia hivi sasa ni kiti ambacho kinatazamwa na Wakenya wote, ya kwamba katika utendakazi wako.
I come from a very, very, very small village called Karoboivi and a very humble background. I didn't have anything to push me there. I came to your office. I asked you to help me. You didn't know me, and you helped me. I was asking for posters. You gave me posters, and even more than the posters. My mother is there, Janet Wanjiru, and she knows that you paid for our fees for the remaining part of the term. Thank you very much. I was reminding you the other day that when you came to ask for my vote, I was telling you that it is my time to now pay back. You didn't know me then, so I need not to know you now. I only needed to vote for you.
Indeed, Kenya, because this is a proud day for the people of the Coast region, the people of Meru County, and indeed Kenyans.
We have new hope that devolution is going to really achieve even better than what has happened before.
Mr. Speaker, for far too long, this House has always prayed that they have a leadership that believes in strengthening devolution and protecting the functions of senators.
I want to say I'm one of the honorable senators who is happy that we have members in this House, Mr. Speaker, who are in the other House and now acknowledge that this is a upper house and that indeed they erred in passing legislations that undermine devolution. I'm happy the wheel of devolution has rotated 360. We now have honorable members who have been members of the National Assembly. We have people who have been in the cabinet. We have people who have become governors. We have people who are MCAs. And we have a speaker who has he himself done 360 in terms of administration from parliament, cabinet, governor, and now the Speaker of the Senate. Mr. Speaker, we have a golden opportunity as the senators of this country to truly make devolution work.
Mr. Speaker, and as you go on to become our Speaker and as you go on leading this House, always remember to use the Chebukatic pronouncements. Follow the law, because if you follow the law, it will always vindicate you.
All right, and those are some of the statements by the senators. Right there is the Kiambu senator who just winded up that statement with if you follow the law will eventually vindicate you, advising the newly elected speaker. Kiprotich, what do you make of the statements from the different senators? You can see that from both divides, most of them showing satisfaction with the election of Jeff Amason Kingi. And the fact that there are some governors who are now become senators. You had there former Governor Ali Robert there saying, we were governors is what we wanted senators to do, we were not able to do. The Senate Speaker himself is also an immediate governor. So what do you make of the composition of the Senate as per those statement made by the senators?
Chris, I think we need to be honest, as in it is happening for the first time, and I want to pick on what Governor Mandago commented, that it's a 360-degree turn for some of the members of the Senate from the Speaker. Jefferson Kingi has been a member of Parliament, a cabinet minister under Kibaki, a governor from 2013 under the new constitution, and now the Speaker. Governor Roba, a governor, now a senator. Governor Mandago, Senator Mandago, the same. I think it is what they are actually saying is because they have the benefit of the hindsight, they can be able to make legislation which made it difficult for them as governors, when they were governors, for in the case of Roba, in the case of Kingi and Mandago, that there are some things they would have wished to do as county governors. That was not possible because, one, lack of legislation in the Senate, two, maybe lack of that cooperative nature or excitement to do in terms of devolution. So now that what they are trying to say is that now that they are in the Senate, they'll be able to put in proper legislation. And when you look at comments, most of the governors are complaining about the late disbursements of funds to county governments, that is delaying their programs, rolling over their programs. So now that they have a Speaker of the Senate who has been, because the place of the Senate in our constitution is actually to protect devolution. So now they have a Speaker who has been a governor. They have also advantage of, I think, senators who have been governors. They can be able to put in place now what was lacking in 2013 to 2022, say that now going forward, as we go to the next administration and the next 10 years, the place of the devolution be now ingrained as in our systems, because the future of this country is in devolution. Because the changes we need in our society will always come from if our devolved units of governance works. Because that is what the framers of our constitution had in mind. Because they expected when we make these devolved units to make changes in our society. Because we could not expect the national government to go and build that trunk road in the village, that footpath in the village. We cannot expect national government to know the problems faced by wananchi at the local levels. But with the working system of devolved government working, they can be able to bring changes actually at the lower level of society. And we are lucky, we have the advantage that we have the incoming administration, which is led by the Deputy President, now the President-elect, has promised to devolve more resources to county. Number two, the commitment, which is very important, that the President-elect has promised respect for institutions. Because meaning now, the county governments are independent, but they are independent in terms of cooperation working with the national government. So the county government, in terms of releasing of their funds, releasing on funds on time, will give them autonomy to roll out any plans they have. So election of Governor Kingi as a Speaker of the Senate could not have come as a better time than now. So I'm actually also myself, because Governor Kingi is also, apart from what we are talking about devolution, is also inspiration to young people in this country. You know, Governor Kingi was elected as a member of parliament at a very young age. And
That's you too.
Yes, at a very young age. And he rose on those levels to a cabinet minister, to a governor, and now the Speaker of the Senate. One, if we can call it, I don't know if I consider recognize a fourth in line after after Papa Oromo said. So it's an inspiration to many things. The election of Governor Kingi comes with a lot of things in terms of how changes will come to our devolved system of government, and also inspiration to the young people. So I give it to Governor Kingi. He has achieved, and that was a good show in terms of, even when you look at the senators who elected him, 46 senators. It has never happened. Majority. I think Ekwe Thuro was elected by 40. I think there was a second round of voting because majority 2/3 in the Senate is 45. So Governor Kingi hit as in terms of how he was elected is history. It has never happened in this country. When we look at even election of speakers from 202 and from 207. 207 members of parliament had to vote 3 times to elect a speaker because there was no candidate who could garner 2/3, which was required by the constitution. 207 when Ole Kaparo was competing with Marende. 2013 election of Speaker Muturi, it has to go to second round. 2017 the same, and even now even in National Assembly, that feat has not been achieved. So election of Governor Kingi by 2/3 of members of parliament demonstrate the belief the senators have in him. Maybe from where I sit myself as a voter and as a participant, as an active citizen in this country, I look forward for his stewardship of the Senate to demonstrate the belief or the confidence the senators had in him by 2/3 to at least to make a path or to create a path for a place of devolution in this country.
The composition of the Senate, just to be specific,
yes.
having seasonal legislators, some have been members of parliament, also have been lawmakers, and there are also senior lawyers as well, and also senior legal minds in the Senate. And now we have a composition of governors who are now elected senators, yes, of their respective counties. Listen to what King said. He's talked about, you know, the first start of the devolution when first the Senate was composed. The senators and the governors didn't understand the functions and how they should execute their functions as well. But now we've had 2 different composition of the Senate, and now having governors who have had the experience of being governors for 10 years and now coming in to be senators. How significant is that, you know, to give an upper hand for the now Senate to be able to execute its mandate of overseeing devolution?
Okay, I think over time, the legislative process has always improved. And like you have said correctly, that we have the current Senate composition of the Senate is lacking in terms of it has members who have been members of parliament, some have been governors, and their leader who has been a governor and a member of parliament at the same time. So it has the advantage of experience. And they have the advantage of knowing what has worked in the past, what has failed to work in the past. Particularly now, it is up to them now to sit, especially when they start sitting now, the leadership appoint majority leaders, leadership of the committees, and the committees they own, now to spearhead the agenda of the Senate in terms of now defending devolution process. And we have the advantage now, like I said earlier, that we have advantage of having a president who have committed for respect of institutions. So in this sense, the main problem which we have been having in the past, that is why you have so many county governments who are having pending bills, is because of the slow disbursement of funds. I think now these senators with experience or advantage of having been gone through being in parliament, those who have been like now Kathuri Murungi, the deputy speaker, was a member of National Assembly, is now the senator. So he can be able now to guide the senators on what maybe the other house was failing to do. Like Governor Mandago and Robert and Speaker Kingi can be able now to also work around the things that was trailing or making our devolution process not work actually as expected. So we expect a lot in the current Senate, and to have the confidence in a number of senators who have been elected. We have the number, most of them are experienced-led, Murkomen, Senator Chirior from Kericho. We have bullfighter, a very legend in terms of a legend legislator, Boni Alwale. And also we need to blend it. We have young senators who came in, who can, with freshness of ideas. We have Senator Garuko Wathango from Kiambu, Methu from Nyandarua. Those are fresh leaders. They can infuse new ideas and blend now with the experience of these other leaders. And we expect a very robust Senate, a very productive Senate, and generally a very productive government as a whole, in terms of a whole government, because government encompasses both the executive and the legislature. So this time around, with the leadership of Governor Kingi, we expect a very productive Senate.
Talking about a productive Senate, that is because now the Senate is controlled by the government in power, or rather the government in place, as well as also the National Assembly. We've also seen the control that Jubilee had in both houses, having the majority despite the little challenging of numbers from the opposition, which was perhaps a dead opposition. But now we're coming into yet another season, or 5 years, having the executive, the legislature, and each of the houses under the control of the government. Let's look at it at this point. It is a good thing that the government is going to deliver its mandate and its promises to the people, because they have the full control of the government. But what is the danger of having control of each and every house, and also having a way in the executive in regards to everything that comes along, just getting the way pass? Okay.
One, let me answer this in this sense, Chris. One, I like to say from the onset that there is no danger in the government having majority in the Senate in that sense, because there's a place, standing orders of the Senate provides for leadership of minority, and leader of minority in the Senate is facilitated by taxpayer to be able to move around if they have to execute their functions. So the danger, in fact, the danger which we are facing is the walkout of opposition leaders in this administration. So the thing is, the place of opposition in our constitution is guaranteed. And I repeat again, we have an advantage of having a president who have committed to having independence of institutions. So he even repeated very recently after Supreme Court ruling that opposition will have its place. So what I told you earlier is, if those people will have to put their act in order. That is, if they have to keep the government of William Ruto on check. But if they are disorganized like they were yesterday, and then you don't blame the government, because the government is organized because it needs to roll out, to roll out the programs and the plan they have for Kenyan people. So they have no place to think about what is the opposition doing. It's about now the government. We are waiting for swearing in next week for the president-elect, and then immediately he starts working for the people. Maybe after 2 weeks, then he also forms his cabinet, ready to work, because he has already put in place leadership in parliament. And now, so when you talk about what is the danger, from where I sit myself, I don't see any danger. It is up to the leader to know, because those senators elected under Azimio, now should accept the fact that most of them, I think the reason why you are seeing there could be a danger is that most of them are still living in denial. They don't want to accept that they lost an election because they were being supported by the state. So I think there is still some kind of hangovers that they are still suffering from. But I hope in the next 2 weeks that hangover is gone, and now they go and sit down, select their own minority leader in the Senate, and the other leaders, minority whip, and start the work of putting the government of William Ruto in check. So we cannot say there's a danger if the people does not want to organize. Look at yesterday, election of a speaker of a Senate is very important, like an election of a president of a country, like the action that Kenyans took on August 9, electing their president is very important. So that is why me as a voter, I took the responsibility to undertake my civic duty to elect my leader. So election of a speaker of the Senate is the same case of electing a president of a country. So yesterday, when they staged a walkout, when an election of a leader of a house was being done, I think, permit me to use the word, that was juvenile in nature. You do not expect that of such a leader. That is why I like to give accolades to those senators from Azimio who remain behind. Senator Kamar, Senator Stephen Masayo, Senator Mohamed Faki, Marume from Taita Taveta, Kituku from Lamu, and Dulo from Misholo, Garissa, Senator Haji. That demonstrated majority of a leader as opposed to his juvenile colleagues. So what I'm saying is, as a leader, you remember, you don't know allegiance to your party. You don't know allegiance to your party leader. You owe allegiance to the people who elected you. So for ODM senators led by Secretary General to walk out when an election of a leader of a house was being done, that was uncalled for. And what I'm telling you is the current Azimio leadership need to put their house in order. That is, if they are to play effectively the role of opposition. So otherwise, for us in Kenya Kwanza, we will not be worried about what is happening with the opposition leaders. We will be worried about the people. Are we able to deliver what Kenya Kwanza administration promised the people? That is our worry now. So when you talk about that staging of walkout and the emasculating of opposition, it is neither here or there. I told you in South Africa, EFF has only about 20 members of parliament against a parliament, a national assembly that has more than 300 members. Are you able to see what they are doing? Led by President Malema, the president of the party, and the rest, they are doing a very good role in terms of keeping the government of Ramaphosa in check. So for being an opposition, it doesn't mean have to be many numbers. So then where will be the government? Because majority will always be on the government side and the opposition. So you just need to put your house in order and act. I don't know, I think remember there's someone who said you don't have to be in majority to stand. To paraphrase what Attorney General Emeritus said in the Supreme Court, to be on the right side of it, you don't have to be in the majority. You have to use your right conscience. So my appeal to ODM senators, because I think those in National Assembly remain behind, even elected Shule and as a deputy speaker, I like to appeal to Azimio senators to stop behaving in a juvenile manner and know that now they have a responsibility by the electorates who elected them. They not think that they owe allegiance to their party leaders, because staging of walkout was trying to prove their loyalty to their quote-unquote their principles in Azimio. So they should know now it ended after August 9 election. And on 15, when William Ruto was declared president-elect. And now the allegiance should be the electorate who elected them to Senate. to represent the interests. So Sivuna should be now talking about how much increase in terms of revenue allocated to Nairobi County Assembly, Nairobi County government should increase to, from the current allocation, I think around 15 billion, which goes to Nairobi County government. Kajwang, Senator Kajwang, Senator for Homa Bay, should be talking about now how can be able to increase the resources that goes to county government, and then leave those theatrics and what they did yesterday. So I think by and large, things is moving. Like you see, things is moving fast. Kenyans also want things to move fast. Kenyans want to see the price. When will the price of unga fall from the current 240 to around 100 shillings? Well, Kenyans want to see when will the cost of fuels come down. Kenyans want to see where will I get the cost food, source of livelihood. They don't want to see drama from Sivuna. They don't want to see drama from Kajwang. Those are things. That was unbecoming of an elected senator. So opposition, put your house in order. Kenyans have moved on, and the country is moving on. We are not waiting for them to get organized.
All right, and talking about that as well, there's also, even as we come to the conclusion of our discussion this morning, we've seen what has been happening in the previous government. The executive, through the majority leader, executing their demands and needs, would say, through the parliament, using their majority leaders, that is maybe perhaps pushing a motion to implement a certain aspect that the executive feels should be done for them to deliver on their mandate. But if you look at the immediate government, you will see that there were some of moves made by the executive through the parliament that did not go well with the Kenyan people, but the executive wanted them to be done, which at the end of the day did not bore fruits for the Kenyan people. That is because they were in full control of the majority of the numbers, and also majority of the leaders in the both assemblies. And if you come, the same scenario is that the incoming government also has majority in the National Assembly, and also there will be advances of what the executive will want the parliament through their majority to do for them, so that they can execute their mandate accordingly. In a scenario where the executive, or rather the government in place, wants to put in place an aspect that doesn't go well with the Kenyan people, or rather that is against the will of the people, and but because of the majority of the numbers, and also having a leadership of the House, managed to pass that aspect. What do you make of such a scenario, considering that you talked about being held accountable, yet we know that when there is majority in proposing a certain motion or a bill or anything that has been requested by the executive, the majority will pass it regardless of the small opposition.
Chris, I think
which is very important as well.
Yeah, our constitution provides for enough checks and balances, and we should not at any time be worried about majority, as in having a majority in any House of Parliament. In any case, I would like to say first, the situations, the circumstances you are referring to are very few, because at the end of the day, even if you are a senator from majority side, you should vote according, representing the interest of the people who elected to the Senate. And I will expect there will only be few exceptional circumstances that we may get to a place where government may decide to use its majority in either house to bulldoze or to try to force something. But if you remember in 2014, when there was a security amendment bill from the National Assembly, which was passed but under a lot of drama and what have you. But at the end of the day, what happened? There were sections of that law that was quashed by our high courts. So we should not be worried about at all. Our constitution have enough checks and balances. If any of the member is aggrieved or from any bill that is passed from either House of Parliament that is inconsistent with our constitution, they seek their redress in courts. And courts now, over time, have matured in terms of independence. The current Supreme Court ruling by CJ, led by the Supreme Court, led by the CJ Martha Koome, has led the judiciary to stamp its place in administration of justice. You even had Justice Muilu, after the ruling by the CJ, mentioning that some of the people tried to call the judges to try to influence their decision, and they did not pick the calls. So our judiciary has grown of age, and it's very independent. And now the current administration, under leadership of William Ruto, has promised to respect that independence, to a operationalized judiciary fund to enable judiciary roll out its reforms, its administration of justice. So if there will be any law passed by our parliament, either Senate or National Assembly, which is inconsistent with our constitution or have a negative impact in terms of our nationhood, they have a place to seek redress from, that is in the judiciary. So we should not be worried at all. What is very important is for the members in opposition to constantly, because that was what is lacking in the current handshake administration, which we are very happy it is ending on Tuesday, or it ended on August 9, that the place was, opposition was totally muzzled, and we had no people to keep government in check constantly. If you look back kidogo, you rewind 2013 and 2017, when Raila Odinga was still under the leader of Quad Coalition, the constant cases of corruption you could expose, the constant things you could he could speak to government. So the government was always kept on check. So what is right now, we now expect the current crop of leaders, members of parliament in National Assembly for Azimio, members of parliament of Senate for Azimio, to do the same thing, constantly put a check of government of William Ruto, constantly always pinpoint where there's something wrong. But a place of opposition is not just to oppose for the sake of it. They should also be in a forefront in supporting policies for government that are pro-people, because the problems Kenyans are facing are not specific to a coalition or a political affiliation you are to. It is general in this sense, and they should be able to support the government when they feel the policies they are doing, the programs they are rolling out, are able to help their people, and be able to castigate the government when they feel they are going in a wrong direction. So, Chris, about emasculation of opposition is, as I have repeatedly said, it is neither here or there. If anything, we have our courts. And you remember, part of our promise in the campaign as Kenya Kwanza was respect to rule of law is very important. So I do not expect, under the guidance of Governor Kingi, who is a lawyer, and under the leadership of Moses Masinga Wetangula, who is a lawyer, to lead the House in passing laws that are against the Constitution, against our laws. So I expect, I told you, for both houses, a very robust house. We have the right leadership in place, and we also have the right executive that has promised. In fact, immediately after next week, President-elect will appoint the 6 judges of the Court of Appeal that Uhuru Kenyatta failed to appoint, because respect to rule of law will be anger to our administration. We will bring back Miguna home immediately. Yes. So I'm telling you, the government Kenyans elected on August 9 will be a game changer of all the governments we have this independence. In terms of policies for the people, uplifting the lives of the downtrodden in society, to respect rule of law, and generally performance of this government. We need everyone. We remember the president-elect, we need everyone to be working. every hand's on the deck. So if it is about judiciary, play your role. You have been given your own autonomy.
Okay.
If it's about independent institution, play your role. The very important thing is to deliver services to the Kenyan people. I think that is all we are after. So these things, these people, the drama for the likes of SG for ODM is neither here. We have no time for that.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that is a good point to wind up.
Maybe as I end, just to pass my regards to fellow young people from Kericho. As a chairman of the Kericho Youth Caucus, they told me to remember to say hi to them that their place in this administration is guaranteed, and we are fighting for the space for young people.
All right, thank you so much, Kiprotich Ngetich, who's a policy analyst as well, also a political commentator and a member of the Kenya Kwanza coalition, but he tried his best to represent the government and also the opposition. Thank you so much for making time this morning, and that is where we come to the end of this particular discussion in regards to what we expect in the formation of government. Tuesday next week, President-elect William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua will be sworn in as the new leaders of the country. What do we expect next from there? It's a continued conversation that we'll continue having as we also seek to understand the formation of government. Both speakers coming from the Kenya Kwanza coalition and the president-elect now taking full control of both houses. We wait to see what that unravels in the next few days, even as we get up to the swearing in. Remember, this is Kirk in the morning. We are streaming live on Facebook at Kirk TV Kenya and YouTube at Kirk TV Kenya. And thank you so much for making time for this particular discussion. We take a very short break, and when we come back, we return back now with our entertainment segment that makes a return this Friday after a very busy political season.
Good journalism is bold, in-depth, unique, captivates, reflects, and impacts. To quench your thirst for exceptional stories that are about you, from you, and for you, Kirk TV presents itself as the hub of feature stories. Ranging from health and environment,
either there is extreme drought or extreme floods, and these will affect people.
Religion and politics.
And the man looked at the boy, looked at the mother, and told the boy, going forward, don't wet the bed again.
There come a time when the nation is more important than an individual.
Education and socio-economic issues.
Nasaidika kwa sababu nikishona moja mbili nauza, napata kitu ya kulisha watoto.
I have met with other tribes which I have never met before.
To other stories that touch on your day-to-day life.
Ja ndio iko mingi zaidi. Tafadhali mnasaidia maji ya nyazi.
Tingatinga amekanyanga kila kitu. Hatujawahi kuona mabadiliko yote kuhusiana na serikali ya kujengea sisi. Kwanza kitu naweza omba tu nishikiliwe tu pande ya masomo tu ya watoto.
Kirk TV, the hub of feature stories. Where there is no vision, the people perish.
You'll find people talking about saying, we discussed this for the last 5 meetings, or for the last 2 years or 3 years, but nothing seems to move.
Here on Effective Manager, we help you get leadership and managerial tips.
You cannot be popular in the workplace as a leader. You can only be respected because of being fair and providing leadership.
strategy and board advisory.
You do not need to put in unnecessary and undue pressure.
Stimulate new ideas in leadership and management.
You get an opportunity to bring diverse views and ideas to a problem so that you can be able to identify a lasting solution.
You can't afford to miss The Effective Manager with Dr. David Muturi, Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. only on Kirk TV.
Wakenya ni wapenda kazi na kila siku wapo mbioni kuchapa kazi. Kipindi cha Kazi na Mali ni rafiki, swahiba na kipenzi cha wachapakazi wote. Si jua kali tu. Kilimo shambani.
Kusema kweli nguruwe ni wazuri.
Madini ya protein kwa huyu snail iko juu sana.
Biashara sokoni. Wajasiriamali wa aina zote, sanaa, wasanii. Guess what? It is business. Tunatembea nawe kila hatua ya uvumbuzi na ubunifu wako ili kujikimu na kukimu uchumi wa taifa. Kazi na Mali, sisi ndisi, Kirk TV, hapa ndipo.
Are you looking to grow your business? Kirk TV offers you a variety of advertising opportunities to suit your budget. Advertise with us today and reach your potential customers countrywide. For more information, email us on sales@kirktv.org or call 011 00 90 647.
Anamwambia Ibrahimu, ondoka ukaache nyumba ya baba yako. Kuna mambo mtazamaji wangu umekuwa familia kwayo, mambo ambayo umeyazoea kwa muda. Watu ambaye mumezoeana wanajua ukilia, wanajua ukifurahi, wanajua wakati kwako sio kuzuri, wanajua wakati ndoa yako sio salama, wanakuelewa juu na nje na wanakujua hata zaidi ya vile wanavyojijua. Sasa Mungu anakuambia ya kwamba wachana na wao na uwasahau.
Baba, sio unapenda hii mic. Ndio kitu.
Tele ziko njia yangu, kuna neema juu yangu. And I know unanena mema juu yangu, unatengeneza njia kwa ajili yangu, kuna meza mbele ya adui zangu. Yes I know, nimeona kwa neno lako, ukitenda miujiza, ukifanya mambo, Baba utatimiza ahadi zako. Naomba ukibariki kazi yangu, Baba nisidhani ni ujuzi wangu, hizi baraka sio zangu. Umeahidi Bwana, bariki kazi yangu. Umeahidi Bwana, nisidhani ni ujuzi wangu. Umeahidi Bwana, baraka sio zangu. Umeahidi Bwana, bariki kazi yangu. Umeahidi Bwana, nisidhani ni ujuzi wangu. Umeahidi Bwana, baraka sio zangu. Nimeambiwa mara mingi ati ni mwaka wangu, kisha miezi ikapita sijapata changu, nikachoka kuamini nina mwaka wangu. But now I know, ukisema kwamba huu ni mwaka wangu, ni mapenzi yako kufanyika kwa maisha yangu, na nizalishe matunda kwenye wito wangu. Yes I know, nimeona kwa neno lako, kitenda miujiza, ukifanya mambo, Baba utatimiza ahadi zako. Naomba ukibariki kazi yangu, Baba nisidhani ni ujuzi wangu, hizi yamebarikiwa. Bwana ninakuomba niongoze huu mwaka, yote ninayoyapanga yatafanikishwa nawe. Bwana ninakuomba tembea nami mwaka, yote ninayoyafanya yawe yamebarikiwa. Bwana ninakuomba niongoze huu mwaka, yote ninayoyapanga yatafanikishwa nawe. Umeahidi Bwana, bariki kazi yangu. Umeahidi Bwana, umeahidi Bwana, baraka sio zangu. Bwana, Lord I know umeahidi ni mwaka wangu, baraka tele tele ziko njia yangu, kuna neema juu yangu. And I know unanena mema juu yangu, unatengeneza njia kwa ajili yangu, kuna meza mbele ya adui zangu. Yes I know, nimeona kwa neno lako, ukitenda miujiza, ukifanya mambo, Baba utatimiza ahadi zako. Naomba ukibariki kazi yangu, Baba nisidhani ni ujuzi wangu, hizi baraka sio zangu. Umeahidi Bwana, bariki kazi yangu. Umeahidi Bwana, nisidhani ni ujuzi wangu. Umeahidi Bwana, baraka sio zangu. Umeahidi Bwana, bariki kazi yangu. Umeahidi Bwana, nisidhani ni ujuzi wangu. Umeahidi Bwana, baraka sio zangu. Nimeambiwa mara mingi ati ni mwaka wangu, kisha miezi ikapita sijapata changu, nikachoka kuamini nina mwaka wangu. But now I know, ukisema kwamba huu ni mwaka wangu, ni mapenzi yako kufanyika kwa maisha yangu, na nizalishe matunda kwenye wito wangu. Yes I know, nimeona kwa neno lako, kitenda miujiza, ukifanya mambo, Baba utatimiza ahadi zako. Naomba ukibariki kazi yangu, Baba nisidhani ni ujuzi wangu, hizi baraka sio zangu. Umeahidi Bwana, bariki kazi yangu. Umeahidi Bwana, nisidhani ni ujuzi wangu. Umeahidi Bwana, baraka sio zangu. Umeahidi Bwana, bariki kazi yangu. Umeahidi Bwana, nisidhani ni ujuzi wangu. Umeahidi Bwana, baraka sio zangu. Bwana ninakuomba tembea nami mwaka, yote ninayoyafanya yawe yamebarikiwa. Bwana ninakuomba niongoze huu mwaka, yote ninayoyapanga yatafanikishwa nawe. Bwana ninakuomba tembea nami
The voice of Barnabas. Karibu sana kwenye studio this morning.
Asante sana.
And good to see you.
Me too.
Tuanze ndio ngoma kwanza.
Okay.
Ndio umemaliza hapo. Bwana
nimbe.
Tupigie hiyo kapela amwe.
Sawa. Bwana ninakuomba tembea nami umwaka, yote ninayoyafanya yawe yamebarikiwa. Bwana ninakuomba niongoze huu mwaka, yote ninayoyapanga yatafanikishwa nawe. Niko na kama kidogo but
lakini vocals pia zinakaa vizuri.
Yeah, thank you.
And good to hear that from you as well. Na tuambie about that music hiyo ngoma nini ilikuinspire ku come up nayo?
Well, actually
ni ngoma inatry kuonyesha like kila kitu itafanyika ukiamini. Tuambie inspiration hiyo ngoma.
Okay, so that song I actually wrote it when I was just starting out in music officially back in 2020, and I just felt in my heart that God was making a way for me that year, and truly He did, because actually it was even something of faith, a walk of faith whereby you just believe that God has actually made a plan for you. And I actually saw his goodness because that year I recorded songs, I did videos, I met with people I had never thought I would ever meet. I went to interviews, I did all that. So I thank God for it. It was a great start.
And talking about a great start, Barnabas.
Yeah.
Tell us about the name Barnabas, because people perhaps some of them have not seen you before. Wengine ndo wanakuona mara ya kwanza, wanataka kujua who Barnabas. Mwanzo, jina Barnabas ni yako, kama si yako ilitoka wapi? And also tell us like the start of Barnabas.
Okay. So
the story of Barnabas.
So actually people confuse Barnabas with Barabbas. They think Barnabas is the thief. The thief was called Barabbas. So Barnabas was actually a name that I was okay. So there was this day I was in church, and as the preacher was preaching, alikuwa anataja verse na ifungua Bible nasoma. So he mentioned Acts 4:36, and when I went to that verse, it was talking about a man who was called Barnabas, and he was given that name because it meant a son of encouragement, because that was the impact it was having on people. And actually, when I read that, it's like I went on a blackout because I saw my life. You know, I saw the kind of impact I was having, even when I was in high school, when I was singing, everywhere I've been singing. That is the kind of impact that I've seen. God has given me the grace to have towards people. And I felt that this is actually my purpose, this is defining what I am. And since that day, I adopted that name. Yeah.
So, Barnabas is not your real name?
Yeah, it's not my real name.
Mtu asikuite Barnabas akifikiria utaitika kwa ofisi.
Lakini nilikubali.
Your artist name Barnabas.
Yeah, Barnabas.
All right, and talk about the start of your music. Umesema ulianza music officially 2020, but when you look at your music, it doesn't show at any music umeanza juzi because there's a lot of greatness in your music, so to say. And tell us about your journey. Ndio kuje kuingia kwa music fully. Now you decided that this thing is what I want to do. Of course, there is a journey that culminates to you having to decide, let me do this. So tell us about your journey, muziki, idea muziki ilianzia, what went through until you decided you want to do this.
Okay. So actually I've been singing almost all my life. Because but then as one time mama yangu when he was singing when I was a child, because I watch interviews and people say the first thing they did, it was not talking, it was singing. I'll ask my mom about that. But anyway, I've been singing since primary school, and I used to sing in the CU, I used to sing in events in school. Then I went on like that. I used to even write songs when I was in primary. But my parents used to tell me kwanza nisome, tutaenda studio nikimaliza. So nikaingia high school, bado nilikuwa naimba. I continued writing songs, you know, going to events and what are they called? Like music festivals. Yeah. So I used to go and perform, and that's how I grew. So after high school, that's when I decided I want to record my music, but I didn't have the finances. So, you know, and my parents again, they come out and
they're not believing that this can happen.
Yeah, they don't. You know, since kitambo, people usually think music is just something you do for fun, you know. So they don't take it seriously.
It's a profession.
Yeah, exactly. So nikasema ni sawa, acha tu niingie shule. Nikaingia degree, nilikuwa nafanya counseling psychology. But then I realized, no, this is not for me. So nika drop out after the first semester. So after I drop out, nikasema I really want to do music and I don't care where the funds will come. So nikatumia help money, ile loan ya students. Yeah, and that is what I used to finance my first projects. Then tena nikarudi shule kufanya P and applied maths. Pia sikumaliza because my heart, I just felt I want to do music. So since 2020 I've been doing music since then. But I'm also I went back to school again. And now I'm doing accounts. Sita quit. These are going to drop out. Yeah, because I realized also masomo ni muhimu because it also
makes your way of thinking.
Exactly. So you might not use it necessarily, but it does change your thinking. Yeah.
And talking about that, there's a mashup you did with Muringi.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that mashup. The Kikuyu mashup actually.
Yeah.
Tell us about you know, having to come up with that mashup and also trying to, bring something together that is entertaining.
So actually, it was, what happened? I think it was just a random thought. I thought of that during the night, and I was like, because I was seeing she's doing covers, Kikuyu covers, and I thought, let me try and reach out and see if we can actually maybe do a Kikuyu mashup of gospel songs. And she loved the idea. Tukaenda studio kule wa Rooks, and we recorded. We did even the live video, and we were amazed that actually it did well. And actually, that's the song that has done well so far that I'm involved in.
Okay, and in case someone is wondering, this is the mashup that we were talking about. Listen in.
Na mioyo ya mwana hetiria mwete wa mwere no watu mwete wa mwere no watu tondo mwisho wagwo ni teri tondo mwisho wagwo ni teri ona kega besha mwere no teri todo na gitoga wakyo no teri ona wa modeni na teri na moyo wa Yesu ni wa utora na moyo wa Yesu ni wa utora Nitagerera mwadhani wakwa ni digitoria itare nawe nitagerera mwadhani wakwa ni digitoria itare nawe karahe mwenesha kwenyarararege nakwemena nawe dora nikumajodheriria jatata ifurahemu nyone moigana wairadhimo jakwa nyone moigana wairadhimo jakwa Bueno be wiki wagereire Bueno be wiki kunyamerera Bueno be wiki monana waita Dakwa bararia Nada kogosha Eni bueno be wiki wagereire Bueno be wiki kunyamerera Bueno be wiki Mwana waita Dako bararia Nada kogosha
Your that mashup is quite something else. My director hapa anaitwa Robert nasema mfanye remix pia atoe vocals kidogo. Tell us about mshafanya after that mashup. What experience did you learn from the mashup? Because nasikia it's different ngoma za Kikuyu and you also sing in Swahili as well and also in English. Like you going that way to make sure una gather ngoma za Kikuyu and then bring out pia you pia my producer anasema vocals nazo zimeenda shule.
Asante. Well, actually it's a funny thing because me I used to write most of the time. I usually write in Swahili or English, but I met that producer called Warooks and alikuwa ananiambia
shout out to Warooks.
Man, that guy he's played a big part in my life. So he actually told me that I could actually sound good doing Kikuyu. And I was a bit hesitant. I was like, no, but I want to sing English. But nikaona actually this is the language that I've been brought up in, and I shouldn't be embarrassed of my language, or I shouldn't think that another language is better than mine. So since then, actually it inspired me to write an album. There's an album that's coming out, God willing, November or December, God willing. So, it's only Kikuyu songs, pure Kikuyu songs. But I know even my fans who are not Kikuyu, they love them because some have mixed and some, they're easy to understand.
It's quite an inspiring moment for you as well. And let's talk about you getting into the music industry full. And wewe kukua msanii sasa umeingia kwa ligi ya wasanii. Tell us about your experience in being a gospel artist. And you know, of course, gospel, you would say gospel is not so big in our country as you compared to kitambo, but umeingia. What has been your experience so far? You talked about kuingia 2020. We're now 3 years, say almost 4 years. How has it been for you?
Well, it has been a great experience. Like, I feel every time, like when I go somewhere and I sing to people and they come and give me feedback that they have been blessed by my songs, and it makes me feel and I have a purpose, and it just gives me joy. And I don't think I would get the same satisfaction if I was doing maybe the secular music, because at least for gospel, I know that you know, I'm actually helping people get better. I'm helping improve their lives, you know. And I have nothing against the secular music, because I know there are those songs that are actually like life songs, which also help people and stuff. So, but for me, I feel like my joy is mostly in singing, you know, inspiring people, even about God and all that. Yeah, so it's, okay, it's been, the only challenge I can say that stands out a lot is when, mostly finances. Because most of the time, you know, especially in Kenya, gospel artists are not really appreciated much financially. You know, you can be called to an event, and since you're doing gospel music, they'll expect that, you know, asante, barikiwa, you know, and it's good, but how will we be able to now go to the studio and record songs to bless them, you know? Especially when you're doing it as a full-time career, you know, you need to also, you know, be able to pay some bills here and there, you know, and all that stuff. So that's why most of the gospel musicians, you'll find them, they're doing a different career also, which also is the reason why I'm also doing accounts, so that I can be able to also fund my music. Yeah, but I'm hoping very soon the gospel industry will grow to the point where artists are treated the same. Same way you cannot call a secular artist to come and sing in your event and tell them asante. Why would you do that to the name? Because it's the same profession, you know. So besides that, yeah, I don't think there's another major issue. Yeah, I've been loving the journey.
It's been a smooth journey for you so far.
Yeah, God has been making ways for me.
What is your biggest moment in those 4 years being an artist?
Let's see.
The biggest moment.
The biggest. Okay, I think one is to highlight is when I did my first concert, which was like self-sponsored. Like I invited people to come to my event, and I sang songs that even are unreleased. You know, the turnout was also great because it was the first one. So, yani, that feeling that proud that, you know, I've done something I've never done, and you know, it was quite a milestone for me.
Let's talk about Wanipenda.
Okay.
What about it and coming up with that music as well, and maybe for people that are yet to listen to it, tell us about Wanipenda.
Wow, Wanipenda, where do I start? That song,
from anywhere.
That song, yani, I think it's one of the songs that when I'm going through a certain moment or going through tough times, that is the song I run to, and it always, you know, blesses me myself, even before the fans. And I think that's why that song has had such an impact to the people who have listened to it, because that song, I wrote it because I was trying to be sincere with God, because I was going through a time where I was feeling like, you know, I'm a nobody, like nobody likes me, you know, it was kind of like depression kidogo. But that song has really helped me see that all that matters is that God loves me, and He has good plans for me, and you know, I will get to where He has called me to get to. Yeah, so yeah.
And let's listen to Wanipenda. This is Wanipenda by Barnabas.
Aje Bwana wanipenda, hata nisipendwe. Aje Bwana wanipenda, wanipenda, pendo usio kipimo. Wanipenda jinsi hitimisho, hata kuende aje Bwana wanipenda, hata kuende aje Bwana wanipenda. Nikiona mabaya Bwana wanipenda, kukinyesha baraka Bwana wanipenda, nikitukana wanidhihaki Bwana wanipenda, hakuna linaloweza nitengana unavyonipenda, oh wanipenda, pendo usio kipimo wanipenda, jinsi tu nilivyo wanipenda, upendo usio hitimisho, hata kuende aje Bwana wanipenda, hata kuende aje Bwana wanipenda, hakuna jambo linaloweza kukufanya uache nipenda, hakuna anayeweza nipenda unavyonipenda, hakuna jambo.
Hey, Barnabas. Let's talk your music kwanza, the vocals. Even my producer says the vocals ziko sawa, and even the production of the song. I've seen you done different types of music, but you still bring them out with the exact vocal that is in you. Tell us about how do you come up with your music? How do you decide that I want to sing these songs? Like this one is it's much a slower song. Then you see you doing another faster song, and all the same, there's still something great about them. Tell us about how you come up with your music.
Okay, so most of the time I find myself, it's what I'm going through that makes me write the song. So sometimes I can be happy and so grateful to God that I write a song. I can feel, and especially sometimes when I feel like I might forget a certain thing that God has told me, I write it in a song. So like, also Wanipenda, I wrote it to make sure that if I ever go through that period I'm feeling like I'm not loved, I will always remind myself through that song.
That you are loved.
Yeah. So another thing that inspires me is, the word also. Sometimes when I'm reading the word, a song can be inspired from that. All of a sudden I want to write, especially through the revelation I get from the word. Yeah.
And talking about writing and the revelations, do you write all your music?
Yeah, all the songs I've recorded so far are written. I've written for myself. Is there a song that I've been written for? No, most of the time I'm very choosy because there's a way maybe I can say something that someone who is writing for me might not say it the way I want to say it. So most of the time I feel more comfortable writing for myself, but I'm open to being written for. Yeah, but for now I'm writing for myself. Yeah.
Talking about writing, that's a skill for every artist. Have you ever figured out an artist maybe local mwenye unataka kufanya naye collab? Ama msanii mgani, which artist would you want to collab with? Maybe because of what they do and what to also do.
Well, napenda Joel Wanga. Chenengele wa Kenya. Wa Kenya. I love Masimasika so much also. And also, let's see. Timam Evans, that guy, and I feel his creativeness, if they can meet mine also, I think it can be great. So if you're watching it, yeah, but to name a few.
To call him out. Unaweza mutisha hiyo collab hapa.
Timam, please, naomba collab. Abanaje we talk, so I know tutapanga hiyo kitu. Let's see who else. Mostly I think I'm also inspired by international ones. Kama akina
local
Jonathan.
Local umemaliza.
Local actually yale. Who is doing
Masimasika, Timam Evans.
Let's see. Guy.
Mwenye mwefikiria unaweza fanya, or someone you see their work and unaadmire unasema huyu lazima tutafanya naye kazi siku moja.
I also love Pitson because of especially his writing. Pitson has written so many songs for people.
Okay.
Yeah, and he inspires me. I listen to his songs and yeah, it would be an honor also to collaborate with him. Let's see who else. Guy.
Those are 3. Big artists.
Let's see. Also Moji, because I'd love to see how street gospel can meet the soulful worship. Yeah, I would love to see that.
Out of our nne huwezi kosa wawili ama mmoja. Kufanya collab na yeye.
Amen. I know.
Lazima utapata wawili hapo. And then as we also come to the final part of the discussion, the people who perhaps are looking at your music, young guys also looking at you, ulianza 2020, kuna mtu maybe pia ako hiyo situation ya kwanza. As a young guy who has also been in the music industry not for a long time, you've seen some of the challenges and the good things. How do you advise someone who wants to start music?
Well, I'll just tell them, just get good at what you're doing. When you get good at your skill, people will just search for you. Sio utawatafuta. And you'll meet the people who will actually, they're in line with your vision, and they'll take you to the next level. Because hakuna haja, like you have the finances, you have all the support you need, but yet you're not working at your craft. Even God wants perfection. Yani God anasemanga, we bring him a perfect sacrifice. So even our music should be perfect. Work on your vocals, learn an instrument. Like for me, since 2020, I've learned keyboard and piano. Sorry, piano and guitar. And I play them when I'm singing. And it has actually made me, even in my writing, it has improved my writing. Also, I go on YouTube to check out, vocal workouts and warm-ups, and they have really helped me to nini. Yeah, and just lastly, jitume. Jitume, okay, at first when you're starting, you might not get those paying gigs a lot, but when you're going to different events here and there, you make connections. You can go and find a fellow artist who you don't know, maybe in the future ni hata connect na producer ile unataka kuwork naye, ama upatane na mtu kama wewe ambaye you have a show and they invite you to their show. So you just jitume, work on your skill and just trust in God. Trust the process also.
All right. Yeah. Trust the process. Your social media accounts as even finalize this interview. Wapi wasi wanaweza kupata wapi, na pia ni your opportunity kutuma salamu.
Okay, so everywhere you can find me as Barnabas KE, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And my music is also on Spotify and all streaming platforms. So you can stream it on Boomplay, Spotify, Tidal. And also there's an album, let me remind you again, there's an album coming out at the end of the year. I can't wait to share that music, that journey with you guys. So I'm looking forward. Yeah, and God bless you. As for Salamu, I want to start with my family. My brother Martin Kabiaro, he's a great designer. Hata ni alidesignia hii shati. So anaitwa Mato Mavazi, check him out. And my mom, oh my God, where would I be without my mom? Yeah, she has held my hand till now, and I bless God for her. My brother Sam, Mike, and my sisters-in-law Shiko, Mary, Betty, Wote, and also my friends akina Emmanuel, akina
Salamu kweli kweli.
Jael, akina Warus, akina Jemo, ale tunawak na wao, akina who else guy? Derek. Who else? Michelle, everyone.
Sema tu everyone who is in your circle before usahau mmoja alete kesi. Anyway, thank you so much also for kutuma salamu. Alafu nimeona pia kwa ngoma zako ka hairstyle kanywele una change hivi. Ulisettle aje on this hairstyle? Unaona umekanyoa hapa na hapa. Ukaweka hapa nyuma.
Actually, me na feeling my hair inspires me also. Like I like when I feel artistic, so that even it also the way you look also kind of helps you to express yourself. Yeah, so to me dreadlocks also are helping me to, it makes me feel artistic.
So that's the good feeling about it. Lazima ufeel usanii hadi kwa.
Exactly. Lazima ukae msanii.
I think that is great. We're going to wind up, I think, with Ndako Rehera.
Okay.
Ndako Rehera. What does Ndako Rehera mean?
Ndako Rehera means I nika bring your needs to God.
So nakuletea mashida zangu. Unikomboe.
Eh.
So take it away, and that is where we end up. Remember, this is Kirk in the morning. Next week on Friday, same time, same place, different discussion, but all the same. It will be Entertainment Friday on Kirk in the morning. But for now, goodbye. My name is Chris Sambo, but we will end up with Dakurehera from Barnabas K.E. Take it away.
Lakini siwezi jisumbua, nitakuambia. Na tena naweza niambia, huwe na mambo hayatabadilika. Lakini nisiloweza kujua, nitakuachia. Juu siwezi jisumbua na yale siwezi kutatua, nikiwa nakumbuka we ulivyosema. Wauhirega korera Maria mothe itagehota, nenda korera Maria ndigehota. Nagakweraga Maria mothe magenema, nenda korera Maria nema. Binadamu ninaweza kuambia kile chote ninachopitia, lakini si wote wataelewa. Afadhali nikwambie, wengine watasema najifanya, hakuna shida nayopitia, lakini wewe wanielewa kila wakati. Na siwezi jiekea mambo, siwezi kutatua, nikiwa nakumbuka we ulivyosema. Wauhirega korera Maria mothe itagehota, nenda korera Maria ndigehota. Nagakweraga Maria mothe magenema, nenda korera Maria nema. Oh, what peace we often forfeit, oh, needless pain we bear, just because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Augire tomorere Maria mothe tutagiota, ne tomorere mothe gaidageremo. Na tomorage Maria mothe tutagiota, ne tomorere mothe gainekuota. Augirega korera Maria mothe itagiota, nenda korera Maria ndigehota. Nagakweraga Maria mothe magenema, nenda korera Maria nema. Nakorera Maria gaidogeremo.